Today I want to talk about the best Li-Ning badminton shoes. I've tested 5 of their flagship options, which is nowhere near all the options they have available in their 2024 catalog. It seems like they have, say, 5 or 6 different categories of shoes, and then within each category they have another few different options like the SE edition, the Pro edition, the Max edition of each of these categories, and I haven't even gotten to the budget options yet. Now I have tested 5 of these options, so this will be more like a quick overview for you to get a sense of what kind of shoes might be the most relevant for you if Li-Ning is available where you live. Li-Ning has some of the best shoe designs this year, and if you are a player with narrow feet like me, they also have some of the best options in terms of a more snug and narrow fit. I know you'll go nuts in the comments if I don't mention this. I have been trying to get the Li-Ning Blade Pro for a test, but at the moment I'm unable to get it in my size. Hopefully that'll be possible soon. Now let's dive in, starting with the Mirage Pro. So let's first look at the most lightweight shoes, moving from featherweight, ultralight shoes to all-around shoes onto supportive and heavier type of badminton shoes. So the brand new Mirage Pro from Li-Ning falls into that ultralight category, and they have another option that's been out for a few more years, but I'm guessing that one might be phased out in exchange for this one, since they seem to be covering roughly the same area of the market. And this one is my favorite in terms of fit. It's super snug, and if I just had to pick a shoe based on the fit and nothing else, this wins by a long shot. I have narrow feet, so if you have normal sized or wide feet, this will probably not be a good fit, but this one is just super snug and I was really impressed with the fit. Now, the reason I don't play in it that much is because it didn't have enough cushioning underneath my feet or in the toe box. So for my mediocre footwork and maybe a couple of kilos too much on the body, it's just too fatiguing over the course of, say, a 2-hour session on court. Next, we have the Li-Ning Blade Max, and this seems like the more cushioned sibling of the popular Blade Pro that many of the professional Li-Ning sponsored players use. It's very similar to the Li-Ning Ting, which also seems popular and just came out in a few new color schemes, but that one is just a touch stiffer, while this one is a touch more comfortable. Both are in the all-around category, so if you don't feel like the super lightweight shoes are the right fit for you, but you also feel like the more supportive ones are too heavy, the all-around category is probably right for you. Cushion and comfort isn't my favorite type of badminton shoe, but if you're into that kind of stuff, you'll probably love the Blade Max. If you're looking for something almost the same but with a touch more stiffness, you'll probably like the Li-Ning Ting. Next, let's move up to the more supportive category. In the supportive category, I want to cover 2 options today. The first one is the brand new Li-Ning Thunder Pro, which goes all in on cushioning. It's the second heaviest shoe I've come across at 380 grams or so, but it's all in on cushioning. Underneath your feet, in the midsole, all around at the upper, the sides, and the heel area. It does have a what feels like a stiffening plate so that it's not too forgiving in terms of all that cushioning, but in terms of feel, this is super cushioned and comfortable. Next, we have the Li-Ning Saga 2 SE. We're back to that super snug fit. This one has more cushioning in the heel and the sides than the Mirage Pro, so it won't feel as snug as that one, but it's just due to the cushioning. It's perfectly blended between injury prevention in one camp and cushioning in the other camp. The Saga 2 SE falls right in the middle. Stiff on the outside, cushioned on the inside, and the most heavy badminton shoe I've ever tested at more than 400 grams per shoe. It's among my favorite options because it has that narrow and snug fit, which is really suitable if you are a narrow-feeted player. The Blade Max, the Yunting, and the Thunder Pro has what I would categorize as a normal fit, but because of all that cushioning, it feels that bit wider than the Saga 2 SE and the Mirage Pro. They're still suitable for narrow-feeted players, and it's not wide editions. It's just an attempt at giving you a reference point, because that cushioning, which has a bit of give, can make it feel like the shoe is less snug and that bit wider, even if it isn't. A couple of notes here at the end across all the Li-Ning shoes I've tested. They all came with an insole similar to this one, which has a great wavy pattern, is pretty thick, pretty comfortable, and has ventilation holes. So this is probably my favorite insole, and the cool part is that Li-Ning seems to be applying it to all the top tier shoes these days, whereas the other brands are just applying it more selectively, it seems. Across all the Li-Ning badminton shoes I've tested, I've noticed that they tend to not have as much toe box cushioning as I've experienced with Yonex and Victor shoes. Oddly enough, it works quite well, even with my mediocre footwork. They seem to add 3 millimeters to the size, which gives you a tiny bit extra room to move forward within the shoe when you're doing, say, late lunges, as opposed to banging the front of your toes against the front of the shoe. Now, this doesn't change the sizing or the fit in my experience, but it allows them to lower the weight of that toe box cushioning. I don't know if that's why the designers do it, but that seems to be the outcome for us players, and it works quite well. As always, if you want more gear guides for intermediate badminton players, go check out the blog. I'm Aske from Beast Badminton, and I'll see you on court.